Recording has started, Nile. Please stand by.
Hey everyone, welcome to POPXP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the POPXP channel.
Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, Nile Scala with the POPXP. And joining me is producer extraordinaire, the man, the myth, the legend, a true brain of pop culture, Mr. Blevins.
That's me.
What up, Blevins? What's up, man?
Not much. How you doing there, Scally?
I'm doing good, man, but we've just been having a melding of the minds and just deep discussion, and we got to share it with the world. And it all started with a little publishing company called DC Comics.
Little company.
Turning into a little publishing. I mean, what are they doing? What is going on?
They're hemorrhaging and failing is what they're doing right now. It's so crazy. You would think that during the downtime of the pandemic, they would have taken that opportunity to regroup, reassert their focus, realize that like almost all these people lost jobs, businesses are being shut down. Like basically they should have read the room. You know what I'm saying? They should have read the room.
Exactly. They should have read the room.
Not only did they not read the room, but they doubled down.
Well, see, they did it different. Instead of reading the room, like you said, they doubled down. It was like, so many people are losing their jobs. Well, this really makes me think maybe we should lay off more talented people and bring in less talented people that will cost us less money.
And this
is great. Thanks, pandemic.
Creating
double the product. And now we know that they're looking at diving into podcast stories. Like, first and foremost, the days of the old time radio show is gone. Like, right. I bet it would be entertaining, right? If I'm driving, I may want to listen to a show. I don't know. I'll listen to maybe Superman and Lois. Whatever they're gonna do. But I mean, right off the top, they're like, all right, our first podcast show will be on the psychology of Bruce Wayne. I know who. Okay, let's do a show. Blevins. We're gonna do a podcast. We work for DC. We're gonna do a podcast. It's gonna be how Bruce Wayne's parents died.
I'm in.
Every episode, we're gonna tell you how Bruce Wayne's parents.
It's a murder mystery. It's one of those murder mystery podcasts where we think of all the different ways that all the Bruce Wayne's parents died throughout all the different multiverses.
And you know what's painful?
What's up?
Is I'm a DC fucking guy.
Whoa, language.
I'm upset.
Language.
This ain't a kid's show, Blevins. This ain't a kid's show.
This ain't your daddy's podcast.
This ain't your daddy's podcast. This isn't an old time radio. I'm not trying to give you guys Ovaltine here. But I'll tell you what.
But there will be a secret decoder message at the end of this video. So make sure you use your decoder ring to figure out what the message is.
Give Nile hugs.
Give Nile hugs.
Yes. Give Nile hugs.
Like it's a struggle. Like I've never seen somebody search for something. Like the only person that I've ever seen search for something more than this is when I search for love.
But
no, really, this is so ridiculous.
He's looking for his Lucky Charms. Just give the man his cereal.
I mean, I don't understand what they're doing. They're creating literally like their product before the pandemic wasn't that good. Okay. And then they come back with a little oomph thanks to, Greg Capullo and the death metal, brought on by the Bat Who Laughs, which is probably one of the best characters they came up with in a long time.
Agreed. Yeah.
But I mean, they came out with that, and then it shifted the whole world into this future state, and this whole idea that they have of rebooting the universe every 2 years. I mean, just isn't flying, and you're not even doing it good. You're not even rebooting it right. The thing is that Marvel has adopted the whole multiverse idea as well, which I think, if not, I could be wrong, but I thought DC created the multiverse first, and then Marvel just adopted that idea, right?
I believe you're right, but they can correct us in the comments below.
But I mean, Marvel is doing it so much better than them right now. It's laughable.
But are they in the comics though?
Yeah, absolutely. Enter the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales, Gwen Stacy, the Spider-Gwen. I mean, like, yeah, absolutely. Like, Marvel's killing it with their characters from the other side. But anyway, they're mass producing these subpar books that no one is buying. And this kind of leads into the whole reason why I wanted to have this conversation is I don't think that there has been irrevocable damage done to DC Comics yet. I believe they're right on the edge though, and AT&T's pushing them, you know, but they have the opportunity to stabilize their ground and move forward. And dude, I think it's just something as simple as them, you know, going back to one of the major plans that I think has worked throughout comic books, and that's the OG Jim Shooter lineup of Valiant Comics. I mean, that was the greatest. I think that is the greatest company breakdown plan that has ever been executed and succeeded in comic books.
Well, for those out there that are like, Blevins, what are you talking about? What do you mean Valiant? What do they do? Explain to them what their breakdown is, how they do it.
Okay, so they focused and had just one really amazing title. Okay, they had a great artist and a great writer. Okay, and they told a story, and then they introduced another character from a different genre, sometimes at a different time period in life, and they had an amazing artist, an amazing writer, right? So what they did was they did this 8 times, and they only had 8 titles. They had 7 characters through all different parts of life, and then one character that was able to bounce throughout time on all of them, right? Which was just an amazing story. They limited the print runs. There was no 500 different, variant covers for each one. So they were sought after, like people wanted them. And it was a great story, right? And then when they had their event, their master event, it wasn't a secondary book. The secondary book was like a compendium, like the bookends to start that story. And they had all the parts be in all the different books, which is what they should be doing now. There shouldn't be 17 different future state stories in DC that no one cares about.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well,
because everyone's going to the editors and everything and being like, oh, well, let me tell this and this, and we can merge this in and do that. And you know what? They wanted to. They killed off some of those series, right? Remember? In another universe, we're gonna start killing off this and that, and we're slashing down our series and stuff. But how can they do it?
I don't know. Remember DC 52 when they had the Battle Coliseum? Like the first book was they had all the Supermans battle together until only one survived, and the next episode the next issue they had all the Batmans fight to the death, and and then they just retconned all that again. Like, the thing is that these stories need to mean something. And every time they do this massive reboot, every time they retcon everything that we've cared about.
Correct.
That makes all the last 2 years of collecting books, the last 2 years of reading the stories and becoming invested, like, makes it worthless. And they got all your money.
Yep.
DC needs to wake up. That's all it is. They need to wake up. Like, they're losing. They're in a losing game. What's going to happen is they're going to eventually get to the point where Marvel's going to buy them because they're not going to be able to make it.
Or, Disney may buy them. Who knows what will happen?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
And they'll probably keep the books separate. You probably won't see too many crossovers to keep some, tradition
going. There will
be
some.
There will be. And they've done them in the past when the two publishers had a great time, and you had you know, Hulk and Batman and Spider-Man and Superman and those, you know, those giant sized comics. But like you said, yeah, they're losing right now. They're losing. And we're losing as consumers, we're losing as collectors, and we're losing as fans. And how can you, the problem is the world is so upside down right now that when it, you know, people say it doesn't exist. You talk about cancel culture, you talk about other things, but unfortunately, this is a result of all that, because everyone's afraid of having the finger pointed at them, and they're afraid of getting canceled. So what do they have to do? It seems like whenever a new change happens, to embrace it, they create the universe again. They stop the print runs and they start over.
Yeah, every male is now a female. Every white character is now an African American. Like every straight character is now gay. I mean, it's like they just are flipping the script, and that's how they think that the stories are progressing, but they're not. Like it's the same character. It's just the things that they feel matter are not something that actually matters in the grand scheme of things.
What bothers me is I think that yes, we should have superheroes and comic book characters that need to represent our population of people, 100%. Our diversity, African American characters, you know, characters of other sex, things like that. That's fine, but give them actual meaning. Don't just flip something to say like, oh, you're the flavor of the week because of something going on. Like, develop good characters. Make them seem real.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, man, I'm getting chill bumps too, because I'm about to tell you this, and it's so incredible. So I saw a commercial for The Good Doctor. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's a TV show with Freddie Highmore, and he plays an autistic doctor.
Which they canceled.
Did they cancel it? Mm-hmm. I didn't know they canceled it. But so the commercial has him, and he's talking, and he goes, "All I wanted in my life was to be a good doctor. I never wanted to be a good autistic doctor."
Yeah.
And I mean that is the philosophy of how people should be viewing this stuff. Like, I want a good superhero or superheroine. Like, I don't want a good gay superhero or a good African American superhero. Like, those descriptions should have no bearing on if the character's good or bad or anything like that.
Make them a great superhero that happens to be of another ethnicity, who happens to favor a different set, but write them well. Bring them into the world of where we look. This is the world we live in. I have no issues with any of this, right? None of this stuff has ever bothered me. But what bothers me is when it's almost like treated like a flavor of the week. Like, I personally don't feel like they're respecting what they're doing.
Or respecting the character.
That's what I'm saying. Respecting the character or the real people out there. That, I mean, you know,
like in an infinite number of multiverses, you know, like, is there going to be a gay Superman? Absolutely. Is there going to be a gay African American Superman? Absolutely. Is there going to be a gay Latino Superman? Absolutely. You know, there's infinite numbers. But again, none of those descriptors should matter. Like,
and why can't they be muscular? Why can't they be like godlike creatures? You know, they have powers. They're meant to protect us. We're supposed to feel safe in their presence. You know, why do they have? I don't want anyone that looks like me. I want someone I'm like, oh, that dude's gonna save me. Yes, that dude's here. Like, and I don't care what he is, but it's like, write him well and make him look awesome.
And the thing is that the writers, when you have 100 titles, like, the writers don't know what's happening in the other books. Whereas that was the biggest thing that happened in Valiant. When something happened in one book, if they're in the same time period, like, it's reflected in the other book of the same time period, right? Yeah. Like, you're dealing with the time period now where you have, like, basically all this future state is happening at the same time. Well, somebody's trying to destroy Gotham City. Well, so the new Batman is fighting, trying to protect Gotham City. But over here in World's, future state World's Finest, like, there's Batman and Superman fighting this other thing at the same time. Well, they can't be in both places at once. Yeah. And the whole idea of future state is that everybody is combined into one. like there's only one universe now, which was a horrible idea. It was a horrible idea. They don't care about the customers. They don't care about the source material. They need to go back and adopt, like they need to call up Jim Shooter, be like, hey, look, Jim, like we're failing. We need to kick it old school. There's a reason why everything that's coming out right now is reboots of the old stuff, because that is the stuff that worked. And I think Jim Shooter holds the key to saving DC. I think his formula for Valiant Comics is what could save DC. And, you know,
but he's not as cool as Jim Lee.
I mean, no offense, but Jim Lee's a great artist, but I mean, like, he's not I've never seen the Jim Lee writing book, you know. I've never seen the Jim Lee, you know, again, an incredible artist.
He's an incredible artist. He's a talent. I mean, all of us strive to draw like him, you know, growing up in the 90s.
I mean, he could be art director or whatever, you know, but
look, he's not, he doesn't act like a Stan Lee, right? He doesn't 100%. Have that presence. He doesn't really appear to be, again, a Jim Shooter, a Roy Thomas. I mean,
Todd McFarlane.
I mean, those are the guys that need to be in those positions doing things where they just, you don't need to tell them, right? They know. And that's the problem. Everyone's being told what to do. No one just knows.
And they're making like,
that's why they're good at what they do.
They're getting paid like $500,000 a year. And they're taking this from the people that just want a good story.
Well, the writers and the artists, and from what my inside people tell me is, you know, a lot of the new hires aren't making diddly.
Yeah, that's because they're coming in on the ground floor. I'm not talking about them.
Yeah, Jim Lee.
They're the people that they step on to get up to where their seat is.
Well, I'm curious to see, like, you know, obviously, you know, Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder, like, they're still under contract. What happens when they're up? Will they be? Here's my theory, and a lot of our viewers out there, I mean, we focus on crowdfunding comics a lot here, right? We love independent comic book making.
100%.
That is the soul of our channel. And we're starting to see these bigger names getting into crowdfunding. There's twofold here. If your job is so secure, right? If your job is so secure, why are you going to crowdfunding, especially at that level? That makes me think that there's a point where there's an expiration date coming, which there always is. But with the current trend, how soon is it coming?
Right.
Because they're not, you know, these guys aren't like, they're not talented, right? They're not with the times. I mean, Greg Capullo has been around much longer than Scott has in the game. But I mean, Scott's a young guy. He's got plenty of years left, but there's, you know, they're going to kill it. They're going to kill it crowdfunding, right? Yeah. And if that expiration date comes for them, they're not going to even remember working for DC.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we had this conversation, and I think we even had it with Ethan Van Sciver when he was on the show. I made a comment. Well, okay, I don't think Ethan was on the show when I made that comment, but I said that what should happen is if Jim Lee ever leaves DC, he should buy back the rights to Wildstorm. And then, man, if Jim Lee did a Wildcats Kickstarter, okay, a Wildcats Kickstarter, a Wildcats Indiegogo, man, it would be the greatest Kickstarter in the history of everything. No matter how crappy it was, like, everybody would buy it just because his name is attached to it.
Yeah. I mean, people bought backpacks that were attached to it.
Yeah.
This guy did. Actually, that's because it's a really good backpack.
Yeah.
It's a great backpack. But I mean, you know, of course it was like, oh, sweet. Jim Lee did it. And they do some more research, then you realize it's not.
But yeah, I mean, they need to have, like, right now there's so many villains. I mean, when you know, when Valiant came out, there was, you know, Harada from Harbinger. There was Master Dark, you know. Yep. And I mean, I think there may have been a couple others, but there wasn't very many. I mean, those were like the main villains, and everybody fought them. You know, and then you go to the future, of course, with Exo Manowar and Rye, you know, in the future. And then you have like the old, you know, the old school past with Rye. And then in the even further future, you have Magnus Robot Fighter and, you know, pulling Turok Dinosaur Hunter. And I mean, dude, again, that's the story. Like that's the formula that they should use to make.
Well,
this happen.
They should. I do. You know, as easy it is for us to say, hey, they should adapt this formula. Valiant has been around a fraction of time that DC Comics has. You know, DC has built, you know, over 80 years worth of material, and you know, obviously Valiant hasn't. But I think that they might be at that crossroad point where they need to make things more simplistic, right? And merge. You know, I think, you know, they're trying to create a single universe, you know, but that's one thing with really the mainstream comics. When you have DC and Marvel, you know, every superhero has their metropolis, right? Has their Gotham City, has New York City, you know, Los Angeles, wherever they are. But you know, at the same time, there's so much going on because, like, the Joker technically doesn't just have to go after Batman. You know, he could be going after the Flash. He can be going after Superman. Like, why is he just targeting? Why everyone just stays in their own little bubble, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the reality, if they brought everything down, you might actually have some pretty dynamic stories. If all of a sudden, you know, Lex Luthor's out of the picture and the Joker's now Superman's #1 enemy, like. You could come up with some really cool new material if we made the universe smaller
and more defined.
And more, yeah. I mean, granted, though, you know, do you have to get rid of all the characters? No, but you have to use them differently. You have to use them more wisely. Well, but again, I don't know if you can take a company like that and do the Valiant method. It doesn't.
Like, that whole idea brings me back to the whole Incredibles scenario, you know?
Yeah.
Like again, you have all these villains and all these amazing superheroes, and when you see them all the time, like, it takes away from it, you know?
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I love about you know, the idea of superheroes, right, is in the comic books, like, everyday people, when they get saved, like, not everybody's getting saved by Superman. Okay, yeah. Not everybody's getting saved by Wonder Woman. Not everybody's getting saved by Batman. You know, some people are getting saved by the B team. Some people are getting saved by the C team, the D team.
Yeah, Booster Gold's coming in and saving you.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not getting saved by the high end people. And what they need, those properties are their money makers. Yeah. Like Superman, Wonder Woman, the Trinity. I mean, that's
Batman's DC. Batman is what keeps DC afloat. Go into a toy store aisle. Right? Yeah. Marvel has a whole, I don't want to say rogues gallery, but they have a whole lineup of different Marvel characters, from X-Men characters, from Spider-Man, Hulk, Captain America, all this stuff, all these spin-offs from the movies. Go into the DC aisle.
Yeah, I mean, like, what would happen if they start telling these stories using these other characters and using these people, you know, as the rare, you know, leaders of everything? You know what I'm saying? The most powerful heroes. You know, like, what if they started using them like that and making it, like I said, when you see them all the time, it's not special. You know, it's not special. But, you know, when everybody's special, nobody's special. You know, that's the whole deal with it.
Well, to me, in my eyes, it's like, look, can you do the Valiant method with DC Comics?
I think you definitely can.
I think you can to a degree, but I think what it is I think you don't need. Well, that's the tough part too, though. Like, because you have multiverses, you have, you know, Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3, Earth 4, you know, but there's got to be a way to just have one Batman comic, one Superman comic, one Flash, one Wonder Woman, and in those books should be a way to tie in moments of other Earths or other things, and keep everything tied in.
Just the same story continued.
Well, so the same story
fleshed out. You can tell more fleshed out stories and bring the groups together and actually make the team ups mean something. Because, like, right now, the team ups don't mean anything. Like, when you see people show up, it doesn't mean anything. You know, it almost should be a situation where it's a celebrity situation. Like I got saved by Superman. You know, like, Superman saved me, not Booster Gold, not Arsenal, not, you know, Starfire, or, you know, any of the other people. I got saved by Superman. Like, that should be a big deal, and it isn't a big deal. And the reason is because there's 1,000 Superman comics where he's probably saved millions of people by now. If you go back and
billions, they're up to billions of people right now who they saved. And then the iterations of Superman, you know, there's so many iterations. Because I mean, realistically, but it's like you look at it, right? Like, let's talk like a TV show, right? You know, how long can you go on? I mean, The Simpsons is still running, right? But is it running just because they're trying to break a record? You know, where's the content going? Because if you continue on, it's kind of weird to when you go back, right? Because it's almost like if they're not aging, if things aren't going on, you know, you kind of have to start and stop somewhere, right? Because you can watch The Simpsons and
it's not. No, like what you have, I mean, The Simpsons is a great example to kind of disprove your point. Like, The Simpsons doesn't create new characters. Like, they don't create new characters.
Correct.
There's not new storylines. When one thing happens, it does affect everybody in the town. It does affect everybody. Like,
that yellow shirt made me think of The Simpsons.
Say what?
Your yellow shirt made me think of The Simpsons, because it's like the perfect Simpson color.
But I mean, yeah, like again, everyone knows everything that's going on, and they don't have to keep, you know, there's not a new villain every week. It's usually the same villain doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have to pull and introduce a new character every week, because they're still dealing with the same characters that they've been doing for 20 plus years, and it's still at top of the game. Yeah, it's still on top of the game.
31 years, right?
Yeah,
1990.
and again, DC, they think that the only way that they can sell books is if they introduce a new character. Hey, Punchline. Yeah, we got to introduce Punchline. She's an Asian Harley Quinn, you know? I'm lost. Like, why?
But see, that's better than just changing Harley Quinn, though. They created a new character, which honestly, character design wise, I think is awesome. But they created a new villain, right? They didn't change Harley Quinn, right? They created a new villain, Punchline. That's cool. I liked Punchline for that. But they didn't like change Harley Quinn and made her someone else. You know, it's not like some redhead.
No, but what they did was they amalgamated Harley Quinn into a different version of herself. Like, basically, they made a Elseworld Earth 23 version of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, you can argue that point. You can argue that point. Yeah, that they just changed her like another version or whatever. But it's at least to me, it was a step in the direction of not just changing a character for the sake of changing a character, which is what they do a lot. You know, it's like, oh, okay, that's what they do. But here's my issue with a lot of these changes being made. Why are the print runs so low? Like, why are there not so many issues? Because they're not sustainable. They're not sustainable.
But so the numbers is the biggest thing that bothers me. Okay, like, again, when they shut down shipping the books, when Diamond had to shut down shipping, people couldn't afford, like, they weren't even able to open up their stores. They weren't able to afford the books because there was no income coming in. Like, I said this multiple times on multiple shows, you know, do you think that the market could still sustain that $3.99 price tag, or even the $4.99 price tag that they're going to now? You know, like, can the market do that? And like I said, when they doubled down, they still printed all the same books. They didn't stop at all. Like, Marvel at least slowed it down. Like, DC doubled down and started creating all this stuff. So here's what happens.
Well, because they weren't going to let this situation affect them.
We'll say you have 5 stories. Okay, we'll use a block of 5, right? So you have Batman, which is your most important, and Superman, which is your most important, and 3 that are crap. Okay, so these 2 sell through, and they maybe pay for this one. That means these 2 are losses, just straight up loss. And it takes away from the profit of the Superman and the Batman. You know what I'm saying? So they're hemorrhaging money in that aspect. Now, I'm saying that with 5, they have 50 titles.
Yeah.
You know, so we're looking at 30 of those titles are trash that are just dragging down and people aren't buying. And they have the regular cover, the 1 in 10 variant, the 1 in 25 variant, the 1 in 100 variant, you know, the second printing, the third printing, You know, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive version, the loot box version, the, you know, comes with the video game mail away. I mean, they have all these different versions of this same book, so they're not protecting the secondary market.
Correct.
You know?
But that, I mean, that's like, it's a whole another show all on its own, just talking distribution and everything else. But I mean,
that's why the Valiant books were so expensive back in the day.
Correct.
Because they only
did a different model.
Yeah, they only made so many. They didn't make second printings. Like, you know, Solar Man of the Atom had a second printing that was, you know, Solar Man of the Atom number 10 had a second printing, which blew people's mind. It was the solid black cover where, you know, basically shut out the sun. I mean, like, it was an incredible issue. Again, it was a quality and not quantity. And using the Valiant method, the Valiant formula, DC could do quality and not quantity, win back the readers, make their dollar mean something, and make their stories mean something. You know, because right now, everything that happens right now, none of it matters, because in 6 months, it's all going to be retconned anyway.
Yeah. They just don't, you know what it is? It's the leadership. The leadership's not there. And the lack thereof leadership. The voice is not there. The people that could probably make it happen aren't speaking up because they don't want to be on the chopping block. They don't want to lose the power they have where they are. Who knows what the future holds? Maybe they're sitting there quietly letting things sink because they know, look, the market's in the screen and not the paper, and they want to try doing this or that. I mean, we already know you've got
screen version. They're failing at the screen version too.
Really? Yeah. But you know what I'm saying, though, with the people in the hot seat are thinking beyond that, right? Well, we've got IPs, we've got this, we've got very expensive IPs people want. Someone will do them right. Someone will do them right. And again, it's just eventually, but it's sad. It's sad to see this because, as I was saying before, and I know a lot of comic book shop owners, right? And so what they sit on is disgusting. And it's not, you know, oh, diamond this, diamond that. No, it's not. It's the fact that people don't want the books. Now, do they have to buy certain amounts of things and this and that? There are stipulations involved. I'm not going to knock that out. There's minimums.
Discounts. Yeah.
But when you go in and the guy's like, he's like, hey, man, what are you doing today? Hey, buddy, what's up? Hey, how you doing? You know, and I go in the back room and hang out, and it's like, what are you up to, man? I'm nothing, just packing all these up because I got to bulk it out. And I'm like, this is all brand new comics. No one's buying them. You know, well, I shouldn't say brand new, but it's just stuff that, you know, went from, you know, the new books to dollar boxes, this and that. And, you know, yeah, they're trying some radical things, but no one's buying them. People are pushing for change, but people that are pushing for change aren't buying the books, right? That's what's incredible. And some are, don't get me wrong. And it's great to see someone like you in a world that you can escape in, and no one should ever knock that for anyone, right? But the truth is, it's not selling. Who are you making it for? You know,
well, they're definitely not making it for the customers. That's for sure.
Well, what's the customer market? I mean, everyone deserves something.
For the fans. They're trying to cater to a group that don't even buy their books.
Well, that's the thing. You know, there's a way to do it though. There's got to be a way to cater to everybody. There's got to be a way to do it. You know what there is? You get good writers. And you get good stories, and you know what? They can be whatever they need to be, right?
You have 8 solid books that sell through is way better than having 50 books that 30 of them lose you money and you lose money overall. You know?
Yeah. Look, there's our incredible characters. I mean, there is an honor to look. Everyone out there, right? That's an indie creator. There are mainstream creators. Mainstream characters that you looked up to, that you just glowed when Batman animated series came on, or whatever you're doing, right? It's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Those things inspired us as creators to do what we do. They gripped us, they grabbed us. Okay. There's an honor to that when you are given the reign to these characters, to honor them and to continue the stories, to continue the drawing. And, you know, this may not be at the fault of these writers or artists. It could be at the fault of corporations, who just want things in certain directions. I mean, again, this can go on, and we're here to say, look, Valiant has a good method, DC. Why don't you try it? They have a good formula.
Yeah.
You know, and put it in your labs and try it. I mean, maybe you guys disagree with us, right? And please put in the comments below. You know, you can disagree with me all you want. I don't mind.
You know, it's so funny. It's so funny what you said though about bringing somebody in that cares about the product, because you know when we had our interview with Humberto Ramos, you know he told us the story about as a kid, like he would read Spider-Man and he would draw Spider-Man, and his main what he always wanted to do was he always wanted to draw Spider-Man, and then when he did it the best that anyone has pretty much ever done it. Yeah, you know.
Well, again, like I said, you know, everyone deserves to have what they like out there, but you got to do it right. And you got to remember, look, the world's a changing place, right? We all know that. And hopefully everything changes for the good and the better. But you got to remember when it comes to entertainment and everything that's going on in the world, I think the cancel culture needs to stop. I think that what's missing is just the conversation, right? And take the time to really think, well, what are we just pushing these things for movements, or are they really creative processes? Because what's happening is we're all becoming, you know, just like in this zone. I just like as a creative person, it's like, well, how are you creative? How can you be creative? You can get you can have your cake and eat it too. You can totally have your cake and eat it too, but you need the conversation. And that's what's missing in all of this. And we sit back and we watch. And it's just, I don't like you, bye. Well, no, let's have a conversation. What do you want? What do I want? Okay, well, we can make that work. We can do this and do that. Why can't we do that? And you know what? Why don't we bring this down and simplify things? You know, but again, we're talking logically. These, you know, the mentality at the level of that creating is corporate, right? Multi-billion-dollar corporations with the control of some of the best creations that, you know, man and women's imaginations, blood, sweat, and tears came in. Guys, you know, trying to make ends meet in the 30s and the 40s, the 50s and 60s. Guys changing the norm, breaking in, you know, different ethnicities coming in and doing what they're doing, and their characters going out there. I mean, there's so much legacy out there.
The foundation that all superheroes are based on. The foundation that they're all based on.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just crapping all over it.
I don't know, Mr. B. I don't know.
Well, I hope everybody listens to what we have to say. Go check out Valiant, the OG Valiant stuff. Like it's such an amazing read. Holds up even now. I mean, it's great. Like the Magnus Robot Fighter, the Robot Wars story, you know, Rye and the Future Force, and just Rye in general. I mean, all the Harbinger stuff, the Archer and Armstrong, the Eternal Warrior.
Eternal Warrior.
God, dude, the Eternal Warrior.
Yes.
God, Exo Man of War. I mean, yeah, dude, go check it out. That's what they should aspire to.
In DC, maybe give Mr. Shooter a call.
Yeah, call him up.
Give Mr. Shooter a call.
He's your savior right now.
He's your consultant. Yeah, maybe he can put something together for you. But again, man, and I just want to reiterate this one more time. Everyone deserves to have what they want in entertainment. And I mean that wholeheartedly. You know, I don't think anyone should cancel anyone out. I think, though, it should all be done respectfully. And I think it should all, you know, be done creatively and fun. And that, again, that's been the big thing is when can we get fun back into these things, you know? There's got to be a way to bridge everything cohesively.
Yeah, I mean, they have people that are just they have new people just trying to get paychecks that don't have any fun right now because they're in a pandemic, writing a book for $12 a page. You know what I'm saying? Like we're getting what they're paying for.
Yeah, we're gonna get a comment.
We're getting what they're paying for. So
yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see a change in it. You know, who knows what the future will bring? Maybe someone will come in and just turn things around. Again, it's always looking like doom and gloom. The comic book industry was always ready to go under. And again, I don't think the comic industry is going anywhere. It's just a shame when you see the IPs you love that inspired you to create, to do YouTube shows, to create comic books, to do all these things, movies, TV throughout the years, it's just it's hard to see, you know, this stuff kind of happen, you know.
Yeah.
But that's that. That's that.
Absolutely.
This was a nice session, Mr. Blevins, and we'll catch you guys all on the next one.
See you guys later. Peace.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on POPXP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the POPXP and over on Instagram at the POPXP. Thanks again everyone, and we'll see you soon.